In the vastness of space, humanity had always imagined our first contact with aliens would be peaceful. We were wrong, dead wrong. As I sit here in the command center of the TSS Horizon, watching the holographic display light up with thousands of enemy signatures, I can't help but remember the day we received that first transmission from the Galactic Empire. They called themselves the Guardians of Order, a coalition of advanced civilizations that had ruled this sector of the galaxy for over 10,000 years. Their message was simple: submit or be eliminated. No negotiations, no diplomatic relations, just pure dominance. They'd done this countless times before, absorbing or destroying any civilization that dared to exist without their permission. What they didn't expect was how humanity would respond. You see, while they had conquered hundreds of species, they'd never encountered humans before. They didn't understand what it meant to threaten a species that had clawed its way up from the mud, survived countless near-extinction events, and turned every challenge into an opportunity for growth. Admiral, their fleet is moving into attack formation, my XO reports, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. The holographic display shows their ships, sleek, crystalline structures that seem to defy physics, arranging themselves into their infamous Spear of Judgment formation. Under normal circumstances, this would be the part where most species surrender. But we're not most species. I think back to the classified briefing 6 months ago, when we discovered their weakness. The Empire had grown so dependent on their advanced technology that they'd forgotten the art of adaptation. Their tactics hadn't changed in millennia because they'd never needed to change. Why innovate when you've never lost a war? Launch the stealth probes, I order, watching as hundreds of tiny dots scatter across the display. These little beauties, barely larger than a coffee mug, carry humanity's greatest weapon, unpredictability. The Empire's sensors can't detect them, their eye can't predict them, and their shields can't stop them. They're about to learn why you don't back humans into a corner. The first wave of their attack begins, just as our simulations predicted. Their energy weapons light up space like an artificial aurora, beautiful and deadly. But they're fighting the way they always have, the way that's worked for 10,000 years. They don't realize we've been studying them, learning their patterns, finding their blind spots. All ships execute Operation Thunderbolt. I announce across the fleet-wide channel. Across the battlefield, human vessels begin moving in ways the Empire's tactical computers insist are impossible. We're not following any of the established rules of space combat. We're not supposed to be able to maneuver like this. We're not supposed to have shields that can withstand their weapons. We're not supposed to be winning. As their perfect formation begins to break apart, I remember the last transmission we sent them before this battle began. You gave us a choice between submission and extinction. We're giving you a different choice: retreat or learn why humanity's greatest achievements have always come from being underestimated. The battle is far from over, and the Empire still vastly outnumbers us. But as I watch their supposedly invincible armada struggling to adapt to our unconventional tactics, I can't help but smile. They came expecting to find another primitive species to add to their collection. Instead, they found humanity, stubborn, innovative, and absolutely refusing to go quietly into the night. And this is just the beginning. Because the one thing the Galactic Empire never understood was that humans don't just fight wars, we revolutionize them. The real question isn't whether they'll defeat us. The real question is, what will they learn from underestimating us? The battle for Earth has begun, and the galaxy is about to discover why you should always let sleeping humans lie. The space around us erupts in chaos as our fleet executes maneuvers that defy conventional space warfare tactics. The Empire's crystalline ships spin and twist, trying to maintain their formation while our smaller, more agile vessels weave between them like schools of fish darting through coral reefs. Each human ship moves independently yet in perfect coordination, implementing strategies developed through centuries of naval warfare on Earth's oceans. Admiral, we're detecting energy buildups in their flagship, my XO reports, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. Pattern suggests they're charging their main weapon, the infamous Planet Breaker, a weapon that's allegedly destroyed entire civilizations. They're getting desperate, falling back on their ultimate trump card much earlier than expected. I can't help but think about the classified files I read about their previous conquests. Every species they encountered either surrendered immediately or fought conventionally and lost. But humans, we took one look at their superior technology and started thinking outside the box. While they were busy threatening us with extinction, we were analyzing their combat footage, finding patterns they didn't even know they had. Launch Countermeasure Package Alpha. I order, watching as hundreds of small pods eject from our ships. The Empire's sensors will register them as debris, another example of our primitive technology being destroyed. They don't realize each pod contains a quantum resonance generator designed specifically to disrupt the exotic particles their planet breaker weapon relies on. My mind drifts back to the emergency summit 6 months ago, when Earth's best scientists and military strategists gathered to prepare for this invasion. Someone had pointed out that the Empire's technology, while incredibly advanced, hadn't fundamentally changed in thousands of years. They'd become victims of their own success, trapped in a technological echo chamber where innovation was seen as unnecessary. Sir, the stealth probes are in position, my tactical officer announces. These probes represent humanity's greatest strength, our ability to learn, adapt, and overcome. While the Empire was broadcasting threats, we were studying the quantum wake signatures of their ships, developing countermeasures they never imagined possible. The Empire's flagship begins to glow with an ominous purple light, energy coursing through its crystalline structure. They expect us to panic, to break formation, to run. Instead, our fleet holds steady. In the command center, you could hear a pin drop as we wait for the perfect moment. All ships, activate quantum interference grid, I command. Across the battlefield, our debris pods power up simultaneously. The Empire's mighty planet breaker weapon charges to full power, preparing to demonstrate why they've ruled unopposed for so long. The purple glow reaches its peak intensity, and then nothing happens. For the first time in recorded history, the Empire's ultimate weapon fails to fire. I can almost imagine the confusion and disbelief on their bridge as they realize their invincible weapon has been rendered useless by a species they considered primitive. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the Imperial flagship. My communications officer reports, surprise evident in her voice. This is unprecedented. The Empire never communicates during battle. They believe it beneath them to speak with their victims. But before I can respond, our sensors detect a new energy signature, something we've never seen before. The Empire's ships begin to move in patterns we haven't encountered in our studies. They're doing something new, something unpredictable. For the first time since the battle began, I feel a flicker of uncertainty. We may have forced them to change, but change doesn't always work in your favor. As I watch their fleet reconfigure into an unknown formation, I realize we're about to discover whether we've awakened a sleeping giant or simply angered a wounded one. The Imperial fleet's new formation resembles nothing we've seen in our intelligence briefings. Their ships spiral into a complex, three-dimensional pattern that seems to pulse with an inner light. Our tactical computers struggle to predict their movements, and for the first time since the battle began, we're the ones being surprised. Multiple energy signatures detected. My tactical officer calls out, her voice tense. They're converting their ships into some kind of interconnected energy web. The holographic display shows their crystalline vessels linking together with streams of brilliant energy, forming a vast network that begins to envelop our fleet's position. This is what we wanted, isn't it? To force them to innovate? To shake them out of their 10,000-year complacency? Looking at the intricate dance of their ships now, I'm reminded of an old Earth saying, "Be careful what you wish for." Sir, our quantum interference grid is having no effect on their new formation, my XO reports. Of course it isn't. They've abandoned their traditional weapons entirely, adapting in real time to our countermeasures. The Empire is learning, evolving, and doing it faster than we anticipated. The temperature in our ship's command center rises as our cooling systems strain against the increasing energy output from their web. Emergency lights flash across every deck as our shields buckle under the new form of attack. This isn't just about firepower anymore. They're trying to change the fundamental nature of space around us. All ships, execute Emergency Protocol Delta. I order, watching as our fleet begins its own transformation. We prepared for this possibility, the chance that we might force the Empire to transcend their traditional warfare methods. What we hadn't prepared for was how beautiful and terrifying that transformation would be. Our own ships begin their carefully choreographed response, but something feels different. The Empire's energy web pulses with a rhythm that seems almost familiar, like a heartbeat or a signal, as if they're trying to tell us something. Admiral, my communications officer interrupts. We're detecting a pattern in their energy fluctuations. It's similar to the mathematical sequence we included in our first response to their ultimatum, the one where we warned them about underestimating humanity. The realization hits me like a physical force. We didn't just force them to change their tactics. We fundamentally altered how they view warfare itself. For 10,000 years, they've been the teachers showing primitive species their place in the galaxy. Now, for the first time, they're being forced to learn. But as their energy web tightens around our fleet, a new concern emerges. Our sensors detect unprecedented power readings from within their formation. They're channeling enough energy to tear a hole in space-time itself. Either they're preparing to destroy us both in a final act of defiance, or they're about to show us why they've ruled this galaxy for so long. All hands, brace for impact, I announce ship-wide. The Empire's energy web begins to pulse faster, brighter, building towards something we can't predict or prepare for. Our fleet's formation holds steady, even as the fabric of space itself seems to warp around us. In this moment, suspended between annihilation and triumph, I realize we've achieved something unprecedented. We've forced the most powerful civilization in the galaxy to break its own rules. But as their energy web reaches critical levels, one question burns in my mind. Have we taught them too well? The command center fills with blinding light as the Empire's web reaches its peak. Whatever happens next will change the course of human history forever. The only question is whether we'll be alive to witness it. The blinding light fades, but what replaces it defies explanation. Where the Empire's energy web once existed, a massive tear in spacetime hovers like a gleaming wound in reality itself. Through this cosmic aperture, we glimpse something that changes everything we thought we knew about our adversaries. Admiral, you need to see this, my XO whispers, her usual composure shaken. The sensors reveal thousands of new signatures emerging from the tier, but they're not Imperial reinforcements. These ships are different, ancient, carrying energy signatures that make our most advanced sensors scream in protest. Through the command center's viewing port, we watch as vessels of impossible geometries emerge from the rift. They're not crystalline like the Empire's ships, but organic, alive, moving with a fluid grace that makes our previous battles seem primitive by comparison. Our tactical display identifies them as thousands of years older than the Empire's fleet. Sir, we're receiving a transmission, my communications officer reports. It's being broadcast in every known language simultaneously. The message floods our screens, and my blood runs cold as I read it. The true Empire has returned. Our children have served their purpose. Understanding crashes over me like a wave. The Galactic Empire we've been fighting, the one that's dominated this sector for 10,000 years. They weren't the conquerors we thought they were. They were guardians, sentinels, keeping the galaxy organized and prepared for something far worse. Multiple quantum anomalies detected, my tactical officer shouts. They're rewriting the laws of physics in localized areas. The ancient ships aren't just fighting with advanced technology. They're changing the fundamental rules of reality itself. Our fleet's sensors capture something extraordinary. The Empire's ships, our supposed enemies, are moving to protect us, forming a barrier between humanity and these ancient horrors. The same crystalline vessels that threatened to destroy us hours ago are now standing as our last line of defense. Incoming transmission from the Imperial flagship, my communications officer announces. The face that appears on our screen isn't the arrogant conqueror we expected, but bears the weight of a burden carried for millennia. We didn't want you to face this unprepared. The Imperial commander says, "Every species we conquered, we were training, preparing. You humans, you're the first to force us to evolve in 10,000 years. You may be our last hope." The true scope of our situation becomes horrifyingly clear. We didn't just prove ourselves against the Empire. We proved ourselves ready for a war they'd been preparing for since before Earth had written language. Every invasion, every conquest, every test of strength was preparation for this moment. All ships, maintain formation. I order, watching as human and Imperial vessels align into a unified defense grid. The ancient horrors advance, reality warping around them like cloth in the wind. They bring with them technologies that should not exist, powers that deny the very laws of physics we thought were immutable. But they've never faced humanity and the Empire working together. They've never encountered a species that forced their own guardians to evolve. As our combined fleets prepare for the true battle ahead, I realize that our previous fight wasn't about survival or dominance. It was an audition for something far greater. The ancient ships begin their approach, space itself screaming in their wake. Whatever happens next will determine not just humanity's fate, but the fate of every species in this galaxy. And as I give the order to engage, I can't help but wonder, did we prove ourselves ready just in time? Or are we all already too late? Reality bends and warps around us as our combined fleet faces the ancient horror emerging from the tier in space-time. The true Empire's ships move like living nightmares, each maneuver defying the laws of physics we once thought unbreakable. Our sensors struggle to track them, their movements existing in dimensions we can barely comprehend. Multiple timeline fluctuations detected, my tactical officer reports, her voice steady despite the impossible readings on her screen. They're not just fighting us in space, they're attacking through time itself. We watch as portions of our fleet phase in and out of existence, caught in temporal waves that threaten to erase them from history. But humanity didn't come this far to be undone by impossible odds. Deploy the quantum anchors, I order, activating our last resort weapon. Thousands of tiny devices developed from our study of Imperial technology spring to life. They create fixed points in space-time, areas where the laws of physics cannot be rewritten. The ancient ships recoil as they encounter these pockets of immutable reality. The Imperial commander's voice crackles through our comms. "Impossible. You've weaponized causality itself." There's a note of hope in their voice that wasn't there before. For 10,000 years, they've waited for a species that could think beyond the boundaries of conventional warfare. Now they're watching humanity turn the laws of reality into a defensive weapon. All ships, execute Pattern Phoenix. I command. Our fleet begins a complex dance, using the quantum anchors as pivot points to create a web of stable spacetime. The true Empire's reality warping attacks splash against this framework like waves against a cliff. For the first time, their advance falters. Then we see it, a pattern in their chaos, a rhythm in their impossible movements. My XO spots it first. "Sir, they're not trying to destroy reality. They're trying to change it. These aren't attacks. They're transformations." The realization strikes like lightning. The true Empire isn't fighting a war. They're conducting an experiment. Testing us, pushing us to evolve beyond even their own understanding. All ships, synchronize with Imperial frequencies. I order. Our fleet aligns with the crystalline vessels of our former enemies, creating a harmony of technology that shouldn't be possible. The quantum anchors pulse in rhythm with this synchronization, and something extraordinary happens. The fabric of spacetime itself begins to resonate with our combined fleet. We're not just fighting the true Empire's reality warping, we're learning to warp reality ourselves. Human ingenuity and Imperial technology merge into something entirely new, something that makes the ancient ships pause in their advance. Energy spike detected in the temporal rift. My tactical officer shouts. The tier in space-time pulses with new energy, but this time it's different. The true Empire's ships begin to withdraw, not in retreat, but in what appears to be satisfaction. A final message booms across all frequencies. The cycle is complete. The students have become teachers. The guardian species emerges anew. The ancient ships vanish back through the rift, leaving behind a transformed galaxy, and an even more transformed humanity. As the rift seals itself, we're left with an unexpected truth. We weren't fighting for survival, but for evolution. The Empire wasn't our enemy, but our teacher. And humanity, we weren't just another species to be conquered. We were the key to unlocking the next stage of galactic civilization. The Imperial Commander's face appears on our screen one last time, but now they're smiling. Welcome, they say, to the true Galactic Council. Humanity has earned its place among the guardians of reality itself. As our combined fleets hover in the aftermath of battle, I realize this isn't the end of our story. It's just the beginning. We've not only survived our trial by fire, we've transformed it into something entirely new. The stars themselves seem to shine brighter, beckoning humanity toward a future we never imagined possible. But in the quantum echoes of the sealed rift, our sensors detect one final anomaly, a pattern that suggests this wasn't the true Empire's only test, and somewhere out there, other trials await. As our combined fleet returns to Earth, the magnitude of what we've achieved begins to sink in. The once threatening Imperial ships now escort us home, their crystalline structures catching and refracting sunlight in ways that make them look almost celebratory. The view of our blue planet from space has never looked more precious, or more different, now that we understand our true place in the cosmos. The quantum anomaly we detected in the rift's echo keeps playing on my mind. During our debrief with the Imperial Commander, they confirmed what we suspected. There are other species out there being tested, just as we were. The galaxy is a vast classroom, and we just graduated to become one of the teachers. Admiral, my XO says, interrupting my thoughts, the quantum anchors we deployed, they're still active, but they're evolving. On our screens, we watch as the devices we created continue to influence space-time, not just maintaining stability, but actively improving it. We didn't just create a weapon. We accidentally invented a way to enhance the fundamental fabric of reality itself. The Imperial ships begin sharing their databases with us, revealing the true history of their civilization. For 10,000 years, they weren't just conquering species. They were identifying potential candidates who could help defend reality itself from forces that exist beyond conventional understanding. Their methods were harsh, but their purpose was noble, preparing the galaxy for threats that exist outside the boundaries of normal spacetime. Earth's cities light up as news of our victory spreads, but it's not just a military triumph we're celebrating. It's the dawn of a new era for humanity. The Empire's technology, combined with human innovation, has opened doors we never knew existed. Our ships can now navigate not just through space, but through the quantum fabric of reality itself. We have much to teach you, the Imperial Commander says during our final transmission, but we have even more to learn from you. Humanity's greatest strength isn't your technology or your tactics. It's your ability to see possibilities where others see only obstacles. The next few weeks are a blur of diplomatic meetings, technological exchanges, and preparation for our new role as guardians. Other species that once feared the Empire now look to Earth with hope, seeing how our alliance has transformed both our civilizations. We're no longer just another species trying to survive in a hostile galaxy. We're architects of reality itself. But during a quiet moment in my quarters, studying the stars through our enhanced sensors, I noticed something that brings both excitement and concern. The quantum echo we detected wasn't just a residual effect of the battle. It was a message encoded in the fabric of reality itself. Something else is coming, something that will test not just humanity, not just the Empire, but our entire new alliance. As I prepare my report for Earth's leadership, I can't help but smile. A few months ago, we were a species facing extinction at the hands of a seemingly invincible empire. Now we're partners in defending the very nature of reality itself. And whatever challenges await us in the quantum echoes of space-time, we'll face them together, with human ingenuity and imperial wisdom combined into something entirely new. The stars shine differently now, their light carrying new meaning. We've not just survived our trial by fire. We've emerged as something greater than either humanity or the Empire could have become alone. As I look out at the vastness of space, I know one thing for certain. This isn't the end of our story. It's just the first chapter in humanity's greatest adventure. Because out there, in the quantum threads of reality, new challenges await, and this time we're ready for them. Not as conquerors, not as the conquered, but as guardians of something far greater than ourselves, the very fabric of existence itself.